As a business leader, is your goal to find causes and solutions more efficiently? If so, this video will help you. Hello, everyone. My name is Tim B. Green, and this is Crush It Club episode 87, Why 5 Whys. If you enjoyed this content, or if you enjoy this content, please share, like, and subscribe. Thanks. If you want to set better goals, please download this checklist right here. Of course, I'm going to put the link in the description so you don't have to type that crazy long thing. So please download that if you want to learn a very effective way to set goals, spend less time planning and more time acting. And thank you all very much for your support so far and hopefully in the future. Sakichi Toyoda's 5 Whys root cause analysis is really famous in business. Many people have heard of it and the methodologies used by the Japanese auto industry when that was going on. But why 5 Whys? Why not 3, 7, or 100? Well, here's the secret. 5 Whys is an arbitrary number. It probably just so happens that in many cases, 5 is enough whys to identify the root cause of a problem. But there's other ways to use this, and I'm going to add something to this beyond. But bottom line is, when you're talking about these 5 whys, don't think of this as it must be 5 whys. I have to ask 5 questions. I've honestly seen literature that specifically says, I don't know why, but it's always 5 or it's always 7. No, that isn't really the way the real world works. So, for example, if somebody said, let's see, why can't I do a video every day? So that's the question. I can't do a video every day. That's the problem. So I was like, why can't you do a video every day? I don't have enough time. Why don't you have enough time? Because it's taking me 4 hours to do each video and I don't have 4 spare hours every day. Why don't you have 4 spare hours? Well, I don't have 4 spare hours because I have other business concerns to get to. Why do you have to be the one to do the video? I'm sort of deviating off of the plan, but really what it comes down to is you want to ask chains of why questions until you identify a root cause. And it takes as long as it takes. It could take 7 or 10, though I suspect that is extremely uncommon. You can usually get down to an actionable root cause that you can then find immediately actionable solutions for within 5, but maybe you arrive in 3, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you can't dig any deeper and you've arrived at something that's actionable, specific, and concrete. So the bottom line is 5 whys is a rule of thumb, a ballpark figure. Don't be dogmatic about that. I would also suggest you could add other WHs to make it even faster. I did this exercise when I was demonstrating it with my friend 𝗪𝗂𝘂𝗀𝗃 today, as describing this, but also describing the whole process of 5 whys. And near the bottom, probably around 4 or 5 whys, I realized the best question was me to ask, how could you make it so people were not afraid to act on selling their summit, giving the information that you need to make sure that they can promote the summit properly? How would have been more efficient? So I would suggest you can go beyond the 5 whys to 5 WH, but 5 whys is pretty sweet and works. If it's not broken, don't fix it. At the same time, just like don't be dogmatic about the number of whys, don't be dogmatic about why itself. If another question helps you identify the root cause, go for it. There's another way to do it, and this is going to upset a lot of the lean development people. It is, and for the most part, most Kaizen and other people, and that is, ignore the problem and jump to the solution. It's like, but you can't do that. How can you solve something without knowing what the cause is? Well, the truth is you can. There's a brilliant book that I'll admit, I don't believe I've read it, or if I have, I've honestly forgotten having read it. But I've seen it in many of the Heath brothers books, and it was talking about something, the Heath brothers, Chip and Dan Heath, talk about a book called The Power of Positive Deviance. It's by Richard Pascal, Jerry Sternin, and Monique Sternin. And what it does is it identifies, in some cases, problems have already been solved by people, oftentimes even unknowingly. They don't know they've solved the problem. They just know they don't have the problem. So one example that stands out from the Heath brothers book that I remember is it talked about malnutrition problems in Vietnam. And it turned out all these experts came in and they talked about it and they looked for causes and they couldn't find a damn thing. What ultimately gave the solution is somebody says, well, why don't we look for what the Heath brothers, whether this is their term or not, they called bright spots. And it was like, is there anyone whose kids, because this was about childhood malnutrition, is there anyone whose kids aren't exhibiting the signs of malnutrition? They looked around and sure enough, they found at least one individual family, if not more than one. And it was like, your kids are awesome. They're not having these malnutrition problems and the signs of malnutrition. What are you doing different? And then they dug into what she did as part of her daily routine. And what they discovered is she worked on a rice paddy. So what she did is as she worked, she would take freshwater shrimp that she found in the paddy, and she would put them in a little bag or a little mesh bag, whatever it was, something to hold these freshwater shrimp. And then she'd take them home, she'd put them in her kids' food, stir it in and feed it to them. That was actually the solution. So somebody who didn't even know the cause, who didn't need to have a PhD or be an expert in child nutrition or any of that crap, basically just went, well, I'm going to put these, even if she just did it because they were tasty, she had found the solution unknowingly, which was then able to be propagated to other people. So you can, in fact, in some cases, solve problems or find solutions without even knowing the cause of them. Do you really want to find the cause for the sake of finding the cause, or is the purpose for finding the cause to then be able to produce or find a solution? In every case I can think of, it is ultimately to find a solution, not to cheer about finding the cause of a problem. So you don't always need to know the cause. You can look for the solution. And here's where I'd suggest what you do is you look across disciplines, hobbies, industries, and even countries. An example I saw of this in a book whose title I can't remember is they were trying to get rid of the oil slick off of the top of the ocean. And the problem was the sludge is so thick, especially when it's cold, that they couldn't sort of vacuum it up or draw it up off of the water. And one guy who used to work for a cement company says, well, why don't you vibrate it like they do in the cement industry? That's how they make cement more liquid. It's actually called liquefaction. This is what happens in earthquakes. So then they went, oh, well, we'll just take a vibrating wand, stick it in the oil. When it liquefies or liquefacts, you suck it up with the oil vacuum and it works. And it worked perfectly well. So we're already at the end of this episode. That is Crush It Club, episode 87, Why 5 Whys. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.